So now let's start working on our sign in route. So I will minimize this, right, and I will create a new, right, router dot post, and the user will be making a post request to, let's say, sign in route, and then we will fire a callback function request dot response, and then in here first of all we will destructure. So the user will send an email and password to sign in, so we can destructure that from request dot body and email and PASSWORD password, like so. Now here we can put a little check if email is not present, or I have made a typo, email is not present, or password is not present, then we will throw an error. So status code with 422, which means that we have server has understood the request but server cannot process it because that's an error. Okay, we will send a response, JSON response with the error. Here we can say that please provide email or PASSWORD, or please add email or password. Okay, so if our user have provided email and password, then we can make use of user model, and here we can again find one user with the email. Oh, here we need to write a JSON, and inside this email key with the email which we are receiving, so we are finding a user again with the email. If now here we can chain on then, right, then we will receive here saved user, right, so we will receive a user in here, and here again we can put a little check saved user, and I will put a not in here, not, right. So if we didn't get the user, then we will send rest.sta status with again 422 with the error JSON invalid INVA. If we didn't get the user, then the email is invalid, right? So we can throw an error or we can send an error if user has entered a wrong email, right? INVA invalid email, or we can add a password PASSWORD, invalid email or password. Okay, so we can put a return keyword so that it should not execute further if we encounter this error. So we should always put a return keyword, right? Okay, so that when we encounter this error, further code should not execute. Okay, so if we have got a user, right, if we have got a user with that email, then we need to compare the password, right? So to compare the password, you can make use of this bcrypt dot compare, right? So we can compare the password which we are receiving from which we are receiving, right, PASS password, right, which we are receiving from in here, which we are receiving from the client, and we can compare this password with the saved password in our database. So we are getting the saved user record, right? So we are getting this individual record in here, right? Individual record, and this record has a password, right? So in this record, so we can use this saved user record, and it has a password field, so we can access that. So we are comparing the password which we are getting from in here from the client, and we are comparing it with the password which is saved in our database, right? Okay, now we can chain on then now here we will get a boolean value that if password is match or not. So here we can write do match, do match, if password did matched, then we need to do something. So if do match is true, so this will be a boolean value. If do match is true, then that means that user has successfully signed in, or user can sign in, right? The user can proceed further. So we will send a JSON response right? With MESS message, SUCCE, not like that. Inside the course, SUCCESSFU successfully, SIGNED signed in, like so. But else, if password didn't matched, then we can again throw an error, right? Control C, Control V, invalid email or password. Here you can see I can put just invalid password, but let's say if some hacker is trying to hack into our website, then we should not provide hacker a hint that hacker has entered the valid email ID, but password is wrong, right? So we should always use this uh, same, right, errors, right? If even if the password is correct and the email is correct, email is wrong, or if the email is correct and password is wrong, right? So yeah, so we should use the same errors in both the cases, right? So we should not give an hacker hint that password is correct and email is wrong. Oh, we should not do that. Okay, so we should always throw an error with this, with the same text, right? So so yeah, it's a good practice. Okay, and with this then we can catch when they so here we can change on the catch block if we get any error. So in this error we can write error, and we can console.log that error, console.log the error. So this error will be produced from our end, that is why I am putting console.log. This error will be not produced from the user side, right? So if the error is produced by user, then we are successfully sending the messages. But this error, this will be a something that which will be error from our side, right? From the developer side. That is why I'm putting a console.log, so that I can see the error in here, right? And I can correct it. Yeah. Okay, I think, okay, let's save this and let's test this out. So let's go to this postman and let's see what was the password. So password was 123 Ramesh, right? Okay, now here I can get rid of this name in here, right? And I will instead make a request to sign in. Here make sure in this header you have written content type applications as JSON. Okay, now let's see if a server is running, right? Server is running. Okay, let's make a send get the post request, right? So let's wait for the response. Oh, successfully signed in. So now let's change the password. Let's change the password to Ramesh, maybe 12, and now let's make a request, and now let's see, here we can see invalid email or password. Okay, so this is amazing, right? So our error handling is also working, and it's beautiful. Yeah, our application is taking shape. But there is still one big issue. Now, if the user is successfully signed in, then we should give user a token. Now, there is a concept of JWT, right? JWT authentication, JSON Web Tokens. So we should give user a token, right? Now, why we should give user a token? Because let's say if user is signed in, then user should be able to access the protected resources. Now, how user will be able to access protected resources? If user has that same token. So when user will successfully sign in, then we will give a user a unique token, right? And if user want to access a protected resource, then user should come along with that token. Then only we will then only we will allow user to access protected resource if user has that token. So when user is successfully signed in, then always we should give a user a token so that he can access a protected resource. So this is basically a concept of token. So we will learn how to implement that in the next video.